outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. Since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Hi guys, and welcome to my channel, Wrestling with Books. My name is Nina, and today we're going to be doing the Little Women book tag. I do consider Little Women to be like kind of a holiday book, or you know, it has a lot of great Christmas and wintertime scenes in it, and especially that Little Women, the 90s movie with Winona Ryder just really captures Christmas in such an amazing way. I saw that there was a Little Women tag by This Story Ain't Over. She created the tag, and I thought I would do it here today. I thought I would do this in my kind of reckless style, which is where I do it on the fly. I've not prepared any answers, so you will see me on my phone throughout this video, but spontaneity. So first she just asked, who is your favorite Little Women or Little Woman? And mine, I think, is gonna be like all of us book nerds. It's Jo. It's Jo. And I say it like that because I come from a family with 4 sisters, and after me, I'm the 4th, is my brother. And so we would always compare ourselves to the Little Women in age order. Of course, the 3rd born was not happy to be Beth, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not delighted to be Amy because I relate more to Jo. So there we go. Now the first question of the tag. The tags are broken up to have prompts under each one of the Little Women. So the first one is for Jo, our favorite, right? And I mean, she's like the main character of it. Of course she's our favorite. So name a book that you wished you'd written because it's just that good. And I'm gonna say it. Go big or go home. I wish I wrote Harry Potter. I wish, look, if Star Wars started as a book, I'd pick that. But basically what I'm saying here is I wish I wrote something that is so good that it is put into a theme park. I wish I wrote something that is so good that it transports people to another place, that they want to collect it, that they want to see it and visit it, taste, touch, smell, you know, everything. And that's what J.K. Rowling managed to achieve with Harry Potter. So we'll see what happens with her and Harry Potter in the future, but that's what I would pick. Harry Potter. The next question is, name a book with a heroine whose journey is far more inspiring than her romantic relationships. So that's going to be a book where it's less about the romance and more about the journey that they're going on. I'm going to pick a character from a recent release. It's actually coming out, I believe, right at the start of the new year. It's called The Last House on the Street by Diane Chamberlain, and this is a dual timeline book, but one of the characters is named Ellie, and it takes place in 1965 North Carolina, where civil rights has a long way to go, and she is one of the people who is fighting for the Black community to be able to vote, especially in her area, and that's what they're doing, trying to help Black people register to vote in North Carolina. She's 19 at the time. She gets disowned by pretty much her family and entire town. She ends up falling in love with a Black man, but it's not just her journey. That's just a part of her journey and a part of how her eyes get opened to what is wrong with the world. And I think it's just, I keep saying the word journey. It is so much about what she's learning, what she's trying to change, what she's trying to do, and then the romance happens and the love happens, but that's second to the cause. So I think that Ellie from The Last House on the Street by Diane Chamberlain is a great pick for this. The next question is, now we're going to the Meg category. So Meg is the oldest of the March sisters. Name a book with a supporting character and cast that makes the book for you. It'd be so easy for me to pick Renegades, but I've been picking Renegades so much. Let me try to, okay, here we go. So the Lunar Chronicles. The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. This starts as the book Lunar, which is inspired by Cinderella. It's like a cyborg Cinderella. But each of the following books, it then is Scarlet, Cress, and winter, and so you're getting a new lead character each book. And that's why the cast of characters are so important, because you're really allowing new POVs to come into a world you already like. So if those characters aren't good, you're not going to go for it. And what Marissa Myers does really well in that series is make you care about all those characters. Of course, throughout, the existing characters are still there. Other characters that come in with each book too, and it just helps support the books, and it makes it work. At first, especially because before I finished the Lunar Chronicles, I had done the Everland series, and as I'm reading Lunar, I think I'm trying to get what Everland was trying to do with the sequential novels of Umberland and Osland. The next question for Meg is, name a book with the characters whose dreams and aspirations are very different from your own. This is such a broad one for me, because I feel like I could pick like any of the Star Wars books. Like, I don't find, if they're not trying to like run a business or write books, like then or read all day, I don't really relate to their aspirations. Much of the books I read are much more grand, you know? They're solving mysteries, they're doing things. But I'm gonna pick the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, because you know it's 4 girls, little women. I'm gonna pick Bridget, because in book 1, her aspiration is to go to soccer camp and lose her virginity. And that's not my aspiration. Hasn't been. So now we are on to the Beth question. So let's see what there is for Beth. Name a book with a character death that devastated you. I mean, gosh, I mean, Sister of the Traveling Pants, right? We have Tibby's friend, but I'm not going to pick that because we just did that. So let's see, a devastating death. One where you're like, no. You know, when you read for it, like, do they come back? Do they come back? Okay, for this one, I'm gonna pick The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. And there's a particular death. I'm not gonna say who it is, but I'm gonna say it comes at a moment where you think that things may be okay for this person, and then there is a death that means it's not gonna be. And I remember reading it very vividly and how I felt, you know, just like or you're like So I'm picking The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. If you haven't read this book, it is highly loved, highly celebrated. It does take place in during World War II. I can't really begin to describe this book in a way that does it justice, but one of my friends, Ingrid on Goodreads, just put it in a one sentence. He said, a gripping story of family, love, loss, and strength in the face of war and evil. And that's what it is. So if you like historical fiction, I don't even typically read historical fiction, but somehow this book, you know, came to me because it makes me upset. You know, it does. But I read it and I was glad I did. As hard as it was and can be to read, it really was powerful. So the next question we have for Beth is, name a genuinely good character that you think deserves the best. I think I'm gonna go with more of like a classic children's book for this one, which works in the spirit of Little Women, but I'm gonna pick Anne from Anne of Green Gables. I mean, I think so much of that book is just because of how much you wish for the best for Anne. So Anne is an orphan who gets adopted into this farm in Canada, and it's about her life there and her life going from this bad orphanage experience to living in an unconventional family, just because it's not they're her mother and father, but it's actually a brother and sister. You know, they're not married or anything. It's a brother and sister. They both didn't marry, and they take on an orphan, and it's Anne. And there's a really great Netflix series called Anne with an E. So if you're a fan of Anne of Green Gables, I really recommend you check out that series. The next prompts are for Amy. So it says, name a book with a character you love, but who is generally disliked or misunderstood. So I am going to go ahead and pick one of my Star Wars books for this one. I'm going to pick Lords of the Sith by Paul S. Kemp, and it's going to be to talk about Darth Vader, or before he's Darth Vader, he's Anakin Skywalker, and that's where I feel the misunderstanding comes into play. As we learn more about Anakin in the prequels and whatnot, we learn so much of his life, down to who his quote father is with the midi-chlorians, has been controlled and not decided for him, and has been almost like he has just been a piece or a pawn of the Emperor, and that's a lot, you know. And I to me, that's like the story of Star Wars. It's Anakin's story to me, you know. And that's why I wish he got more or any sort of, I'm not gonna get into the other movies, but you know, maybe with this Kenobi series coming, we'll get something of that. But so I love reading Lords of the Sith. Obviously by that point he is Darth Vader and working with the Emperor. But another great book that happens after he becomes Darth Vader is Kenobi. This one is by John Jackson Miller. This one is a Legends Star Wars book. What that means is that this was a Star Wars book written before Star Wars was sold to Disney. When Disney took on Star Wars, they decided that anything published was no longer a canon story. And this way they could make their own story and market that and publish that, etc. But this Kenobi book, I wanted to read it because I wanted to see what was the initial story of what happened when Obi-Wan Kenobi goes to Tatooine to watch over Luke Skywalker. And I loved where this book took us. So that's just a side note on Star Wars, but that's not the book I was picking. So the next question is, name a book with a ship that you love, but others generally dislike. Oh, it's so, okay. I mean, is it too... So I don't read a lot of books that get lots of ship discussions, so that's why it's like I'm going Twilight, you know? And Twilight is all about demographic and age range, okay? When I read Twilight in college, I devoured it because I was in, you know, a bad relationship in college. So I liked that Edward was like possessive, and then, you know, when he went away, I was able to relate because then the possessive boyfriend I had would be like gone, and then I'd relate to Bella's heartbreak because she was consumed by Edward, you know. And as I got older, I learned that you do not want to lose yourself in a partner. You want to find yourself in a partner. Not find yourself, but be yourself with your partner. You want to be who you are. You know, I'm the same person I am without my husband. I'm just better with him. So I now as a, I guess I'm not answering that right, because I'm trying to say something I love that other people dislike. I loved it at the time. Now I'm with everyone else and I dislike it. let me see if I can find a better. Okay, I'm gonna pick Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jean, and I'm gonna talk about Zumi and the bodyguard. And I think this is cause I just misread his age. To me, he's working for, you know, a prince as a bodyguard. He's got to be in his like mid-20s at least, but I think he's supposed to be in his younger 20s, and she's still in high school. So I don't know. As an adult, the age range, I just wasn't like connecting with them, but I think he was actually more like, let's say 20, 21, rather, and she's 18. I'm assuming, you know, rather than what I was picturing it. I'm picturing it like she's 16 and he's in his young 20s, and it just wasn't jiving with me, and I couldn't rebound it even after like coming to my error on it. So that's why I'm picking then. Let's see if there were any more questions or if any of my book pals got back to me about wanting to. All right, we got 2 who are able to film it. All right, so I'm gonna be tagging Heather at the Disney Housewife, and I'm going to be tagging Lydia at Vintage Nectarines. So I can't wait to see their answers. I'm filming this at the end of December, and they said they'll be able to do this in January. So it'll be really fun to bring some life to this really great tag and this great winter book, because it's just such a great winter book. Thank you for tuning in. I had been doing Vlogmas on Wrestling with Disney, my primary channel, and on this one. This one didn't end up getting as much videos as I thought I would. It kind of just went dominant on Wrestling with Disney, but you know, I'm here and I'm still gonna keep posting and sharing about my favorite bookish things. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one.